Nostalgia Trip, Part 10, Finale, by Icydice.
After much internal deliberation, I decided to talk with my mother about, well, everything. She played dumb at first, feigning ignorance. It was only when I told her that I had met up with Sam that she quit her act. I sat her down. I wanted to believe that somehow, some way, she had a justified reason for having lied to me. So, I asked her. I asked her why she lied to me about Mr. O. I asked her why she never once spoke about the situation that happened all those years ago. She started by apologizing for misleading me, but I quickly cut her off. I wasn't interested in her apologies. Rather, I was interested in the truth. I made her face me and look directly into my eyes. She was no longer going to hide behind her lies and her apologies. With that, I sat and waited for her to deliver her response. According to her, Sam's father had been among the most unremarkable men she had ever met. She never formed a personal relationship with him. She only ever spoke to him because I had been best friends with his son. There was a night where the sound of sirens entered the neighborhood, and several police cars pulled up near Sam's house. A few officers entered the home and soon exited with Mr. O in their custody. He had been charged with the possession of child pornography, as well as the molestation of several minors. He was later convicted of both charges. Upon hearing the news, both she and my father struggled to grasp the possibility that this man had done something to me. Something wrong. Something awful. It wasn't long after Mr. O's arrest that the authorities showed up on our doorstep. My parents had called them to voice their concerns regarding my involvement with Mr. O. My mother refused to divulge any specific information regarding what happened afterward with the police. She simply stated that they incorporated my case into the investigation, but came up empty-handed. Though no evidence was found to suggest that man had victimized me, there was no evidence he hadn't either. This uncertainty weighed down on my father. He had grown restless and highly irritable as the days went on, and no matter what my mother did, he wouldn't calm down. His fear was understandable, and the lack of knowledge about whether his child was harmed eventually drove him over the edge. When my mom found his note, it was already too late. He had left this world unable to bear his burden any longer. My mother confessed that she wanted to tell me the truth many times over the years, but couldn't bring herself to do so. While I grew up, I eventually came to forget Mr. O even existed at all. As she witnessed me repress my memory of the events that had transpired, she told herself that it was best if I had completely forgotten what had happened. She told me she did it to protect me, to keep me safe from the same paranoia that ended up taking her husband away from her. Although I extended my arms and embraced her following our conversation, I knew I had conflicting thoughts and emotions. On one hand, I understand why she acted the way she did. I sympathized with her dilemma. I was under the impression that by understanding her, I would come to forgive her. Instead, I found that my feelings were far more complex than that. Understanding why she did it didn't make it hurt any less. Knowing what it is she went through, while enlightening, didn't take away the pain of realizing that someone I trusted kept me in the dark for so long. If I hadn't met with Sam, how long would it have taken her to tell me? Would I ever have found out about what happened? The crime that occurred had victimized kids. Our legal identities wouldn't have been publicly disclosed. There would have been no way for me to know that I or anyone else had been involved in an investigation. Without inside information, I could never have hoped to independently figure this all out. Perhaps I'm being selfish. After all, I'm not the only one that's hurting. My mother must feel god-awful, and to that end, I truly feel sorry for her. I'm likely going to need time to fix my relationship with her. After all, it's not like I can just brush aside years of being lied to no matter how much I sympathize with her. Later that day, I briefly took the DS out from the cardboard box. There was one last thing I wanted to try. Opening the game, I spawned into the world. I willfully ignored every instance of Mr. O in the game and made my way towards my house. When I reached the computer, I interacted with it and was brought to the character creation menu. There he was, his eyes and his perverted smile as wide as always. I scrolled over to the deletion option, hoping to wipe him away from this world he inhabited. I'm not sure why, I just felt as if getting rid of him in the DS would help me feel more distant from my history with him. Needless to say, it didn't work. His character remained, and a text box popped up from the bottom of the screen.
You shouldn't delete me, Jeremy. I'm your friend, Mr. O, and we need to stick together. I love you, Jeremy.
It read. Of course. I couldn't delete his model from the game. He had programmed himself in as a permanent feature of the world. I attempted to create a new character. I wanted to see if I could introduce others into the world so that it wouldn't just be him and I alone. Once again, I was unable to do this, and another text box came into view.
Aren't I good enough for you, Jeremy? You should be grateful for what you have. I promise I love you.
I guess, in a way, it's kind of fitting that I can't just get rid of him. Just as I can't delete him from my past and pretend he was never there, I can't simply get him out of the game world. I didn't want him to be there, constantly reminding me of his presence. A part of me wished that I had stayed ignorant of his existence. Maybe things would be better had I never explored the attic and retrieved the DS from inside of the box to begin with. Sure, I could just stuff the device back where it came from, but I couldn't forget everything all over again. Could I? Then again, maybe I didn't have to forget. Despite what happened, I've carried on living my life. I've made it all the way to college. Sure, I wasn't conscious then of what I am now. Yet, if what I experienced in the past hasn't stopped me from moving forward so far, maybe it doesn't have to. I still have my mother. No matter how shaky our relationship has gotten, I still love her. And I know she still loves me. That's gotta be worth something, right? Before I put the DS back into the box and shoved it into the attic, I removed the game cartridge that contained Township Village. I stared at its blank surface. I remembered what Sam had told me about the secret room Mr. O created for me. If I played through the game in a way that appeased Mr. O, he would allow me entry into the locked room, just as he did when leading me into the basement. It was just another cruel way of warping me into his pathetic plaything. Maybe a few days ago, I would have been desperate to figure out what was inside that room. However, now that I was aware of the true nature of the game, a single thought came to mind. I didn't need it anymore. I tossed it into the garbage can, where it belongs. There was no time to let that piece of junk cost me any more sleep. I opened my computer and scrolled through my email. I skimmed over the lame advertisements and spam. That's when I noticed the Google Hangouts tab. I saw that it contained a notification, and I clicked on it. There, I found a message waiting for me. Hey, Jeremy. Hi, Sam. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm doing all right. How about yourself? I'm okay, man. Look, I really wanted to apologize for the way things are right now. It's really fucked up, I know. I wish we didn't have to meet again under these circumstances. It's okay, dude. Believe me, it's okay. It's not your fault. I'm glad I at least got to reconnect with you. Are you sure? You can be open with me for real, dude. I'm dead serious here. Yeah, I know you are. Look, if I'm struggling with something, I'll let you know, alright? I got it, thank you. I really appreciate it. You know I'm here for you. You'll do the same, won't you? Do the same? What do you mean? You'll talk to me if you're not feeling okay, right? Oh, yeah, of course I will. Hey, Sam, let's meet over coffee soon. I'm kinda bummed I didn't get anything to drink last time. What do you say? Dude, seriously, you're gonna make me drive all the way over there again? Nah, man, I'll meet you halfway. Fine, sounds like a plan. But you're covering the bill since I tried paying for your drinks last time. Yeah, alright dude, whatever you say. Nostalgia Trip was written by Icydice. Narration, editing, mastering, and original music by Abysmii. Comprehensive links below. YouTube.com/Creepypasta is a collaborative channel. Please, subscribe if you want to follow our content. If you want to support the channel, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing this video with like-minded members of the community.